So I've not used it. I know. I think it put me on the spot.
Where have you been in all those years?
Welcome everyone to Startup Impact Series. I'm Nick from Breda.
And I'm Fionna Faulk.
Hello and welcome everyone to the sixth edition of the Startup Impact Series. Today we are talking with Marielle Sijgers from Seats2meet, and of course I'm here with my host Fionna Faulk. So welcome Marielle, and please give us a short introduction on who you are and what kind of social business you are running.
Well, hi, my name is Marielle Sijgers, and I'm one of the founders of Seats2meet, and also a hospitality tech company beside that, which is called Cyberdigma. And I think Seats2meet is the most interesting thing. We started off with that 15 years ago. And what we actually felt back then is that it really was time to create new circumstances for people to work together, to do it differently, collaborate in a different way. And well, actually the key thing is that we want to connect people together outside the borders of the existing old structures we were used to. So we're already doing that for 15 years now and going strong with 200, little bit more than 200 physical spots worldwide in 30 countries, and still working very hard. Yeah.
Sounds like a WeWork. Can you tell us what is different than an office that we all know?
Yeah, well, when we started 15 years ago, the word co-working wasn't even there. So I think we found along the way a lot of words that we used to right now. But I think all the new entrants in the business, like WeWork, but there are a lot of co-working industry initiatives, and they're focused more or less on the flexibilization of the workspace in general, and making it cheaper and more accessible. And all of them are still working in terms of membership models. And what we thought and what we still feel strongly is that the co-working for us is an enabler to bring people together, and it's the way of innovating outside, well, like I mentioned, the structures we used to. So that's totally different. We are focused on the people and trying to facilitate people with that new playing field where they can move around and find each other at the right time, the right place. And I think WeWork is more or less about the space itself.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because Fiona is from the States, I'm wondering if, I know you for quite some time. I've been using Seats2meet quite often, and I've been hosting my own events there as well, and technology meetups and such. And what I think is very interesting is that you have two different kind of businesses in one. That you have the social capital business and that you have the commercial business, like maybe a renting space as well. So maybe you can tell Fiona a little bit about that structure. But I also wonder if Fiona is already have already used Seats2meet before.
Yeah, are you used to it?
So I've not used it. I know. I think it put me on the spot.
Where have you been in all those years?
But I will say, I love, first of all, co-working. I'm a huge fan of co-working and the entire concept around it. Always have been, certainly always will be. And I am actually very curious over the past 15 years, 1-5 for anyone who didn't catch that the first time. Over the past 15 years, I'm super curious how you've seen your business evolve. Because you guys are still going strong, you're still doing your thing. And it, from everything that I've learned about you, it seems innovation is super important to you. So it makes me curious how you guys have evolved.
Yeah, what we believed in the first place when we started off, for us, those people and letting people in for actually by using our abundant space, which was in a space like what we were used to. We were facilitating meetings, and there you have a lot of spaces which are only used for coffee breaks, for lunch breaks, and drinks afterwards. But it's unused space during the day, and we thought we saw a very small group back then of independent professionals, and we thought, let's ask those people to start collaborating together in that space. And actually those people, we thought, well, at least they can bring in some energy, they can bring in, make the space more lively and more relevant for other people, and hopefully they also want to be our ambassadors to do their storytelling. And actually in the beginning we asked them to simply create some buzz in all the channels. Like we didn't use Facebook, we didn't have LinkedIn back then, but we did have Twitter. At the moment we started, Twitter was there, and Twitter really helped us. We became trending topic all of a sudden. All those people shared their stories and their experiences, and that's where it actually started. And then we found, because in the beginning it was more or less like a new business model of the way we did business. So the transactional part was different. We sold a private meeting space per seat, Seats2meet. And it was also pricing per seat, per hour. So a very flexible way of doing business with the market. And that's also one thing what we thought the market really wanted something else. But then bringing in those people in the heart of the physical location, that was really a difference. So that's where we came up with the idea of creating a new balance, where we created value in social capital at the one side and monetary capital on the other side. And that's actually, definitely for the last 10 years now, what we definitely believe in. The whole economic structures we were used to, where scarcity was always the way of creating value. For us now, it's definitely, for sure, it's about thinking in terms of abundance and sharing abundance of, on the one side, unused spaces to bring people together, and at the other side, the unused potential of people in their talents, in the way, in all the expert fields they have, and they are willing to share. And that's actually the social capital part. And bringing those two together, where social capital is for us more or less the engine, and monetary capital is what follows. But it is definitely the combination which works.
Absolutely. So I'm so curious about that. The social aspect of the Seats2meet. So how did you set that up? How does that work? Walk us through how that actually works, because it sounds such like a lofty idea.
Yeah. Well, it's quite simple. Actually, what we did is we really accept it as a payment method. So every time when you do a transaction, when you use that seat, we say you have either the choice to pay with your social capital, and then you really book the seat, for example, a co-work space in the open space. But then you say, I'm committed to share my talents and my fields of expertise and my network, and I'm willing to open up to share that with other people. And then we say, well, okay, it's fine. Just use the seat for as long as you want to. But if you, as soon as you are in need of a private space because you want to organize your event, or you want to do a meeting with a company you're working for, then you have to pay with your monetary capital, because you're not able to share then. And that combination of sharing seats, and what we found out now, it's 1/3 social capital availability, and results in 2/3 monetary capital. So it's a really healthy business model in the end, which is very profitable also, monetary wise.
Yeah. I'm super curious, and maybe you've heard through the grapevine or directly, but has anyone, it actually strikes me as an opportunity, almost like an advertising opportunity for someone who wants to get their services out there and, find people who need what they offer, and go there and just kind of put their name out there. Has that worked for anyone? Have you heard of some of your tenants doing that?
all the time. But I think, well, people are definitely using the stage. We think in terms of staging,
Yeah.
and offering people the possibility to share their stories, to show what they have, what their products are, whatever. But it's not a commercial way of bringing it to the stage. So people are always looking for help, how they can help each other, how they can, what we call asynchronous reciprocity is the key thing, what we believe in.
Yeah.
So if, for example, Nick shares his technology knowledge with other people and organizes a Tech Tuesday, for example, then other people from the network are welcome to join in. And of course, they also offer each other a lot of opportunities to do business in the end together. So it's I think all the time bringing in. We think it's like an ecosystem of connected people, and you always have to feed it. So you have to bring in new innovative people with new ideas, new network. So that's why we also believe in an open structure. And instead of, for example, WeWork, which is with a community of like-minded people mostly, and
Yeah.
we believe in, well, all the time new people and new ideas, and poor and rich and young and old, and all kinds of differences that make the real. I think that's the energy which is brought. Yeah.
So I'm like salivating over here. I'm like, I want to go work at one.
Yeah, you have to go there now after 15 years, finally.
Yeah, I don't like the kitchen.
You should have told her, Nick.
Yeah, come on, man.
During the interview, I thought like, okay, this is the surprise moment.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I'm
It's the
curious
best
about
kept secret.
the locations in the US. You had 200 venues now using the software of Seats2meet.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the locations of them?
Yeah, sure. It's a lot of very different kind of venues. It's very small coffee companies. It's like theaters. It's actually anywhere where they feel they have abundant space available for people to come in to work. So it's not most of them are not the typical co-working kind of spaces. It could
Like
be in a
that.
theater, in a central hall where normally the theater guests in the evening have their coffee, but during the day it's unused space. So those kind of locations connect and feel attracted to the whole way of thinking.
Okay.
And then, well, a lot more. It's libraries. It's citizen halls. It's in a city hall. I mean. But well, and everything in between.
Yes. So now you see maybe more restaurants doing this, like during the day when they're not open for the public normally. Is that also something that's attracting now? Maybe
Yeah,
now with the virus, I don't know if that's still if it's
yeah.
still possible to use all the abundant space that we have right now.
No. It's the focus is on the virtual part right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely about working at home, but well, that was already for us. It was a very important part of what we were doing. People have access to what we call the passport, and your passport is your personal entrance to wherever you are in the world to be connected. So you always feel surrounded by a kind of organization with people with expert fields and which you can access, which you have access to. So for us, it's actually now putting the spotlights more on webinars and events virtually, and how can you create your own circumstances when you work at home. And of course, yeah, the monetary part is a bit. Well, a bit of problem to put it mildly. Yeah, that's difficult at the moment. But the social capital, nevertheless, is more important than ever. And I see so many great initiatives. So we get through this together, definitely.
Yeah. So the company itself is like the amount of people working for the company. Is it like a scale up? Yeah, in terms of employees, because you have such a huge crowd.
Well, no, the cool thing is that we also believe in a very small team, the small as possible, from in the core team, which are more or less the culture carriers. And then around ourselves, we feel very rich with thousands and thousands of people who are willing to join in on specific topics. So they help us developing the software. They help us to actually do content and share content, and everybody has their added value in the whole thing. So it's very much crowdsourced. And it's a very small company. It's in total we are with I think 8 people in the core of Seats2meet.
Yeah,
so
that's remarkable.
it's not too much. But we have people like you, Nick, and people like Jurjen de Vries. You know him. He's for example working on a new kind of virtual meeting room service, and he just came back from his world trip. Forced by Corona, unfortunately. But people like that, they are really experts who are willing to help us, and that's also that reciprocity part, which comes in. So we believe in value networks very temporarily, and that's also where the whole society is moving to. So in 2010, we published the book Society 3.0, maybe interesting for you, Fionna, as well. And for everybody else, it's free downloadable from the website. But that's our vision, which we had back then in the changing society that really needed different circumstances again. So that's where we, until now, where we're working on every day.
Yeah, can you share a little bit to our listeners of that vision, of that future with abundance? Huh?
Yeah, what we believe is that ecosystem of connected people can get a lot bigger than where we are right now. Right now, it's more or less 200,000 people who are willing to share their social capital, to give just some numbers. But actually the whole world is changing, and especially also Corona helps a lot of people who were in those structures of big organizations. They just need to go out of their comfort zone right now. So I hope they join in and they start sharing with all those people in the what I call underground, who are already doing that for 50 years. And they have so many great examples to share, and hopefully the network will become millions of people worldwide who are willing to help each other, who are always connected, and find each other also on physical spots, because I think physical meetings still adds value a lot, but not always. You shouldn't be able to travel that much as what we do right now. But I hope that what comes back when we are when it's safe to be physical, to organize those physical meetings again, that it will be different meetings where it's really added value to come together, and not just doing the things which we can also do like this. So yeah, we are focusing on new kinds of services and products which really add value for that changing society. That's when I look in the future, what we need to do.
Is there any tip that you can give about these future products and services? Because I am always interested in how you guys are innovating. I saw people develop some kind of blockchain and GDPR. All of the crowd are doing that. Now you say Jurjen is building something for this time when we are not able to physically meet. There's always something happening with Seats2meet. So I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, well, we're actually working a lot with partnerships at the moment. So we've created like what we call a fundament, a basis with Seats2meet technology right now. And we have a lot of APIs to connect to other platforms, like, for example, Peerby, where people can share stuff with each other. Of course, knowledge sharing is obvious, but they already do that. But you can also think of, start a collaboration now with ViaDesk. I don't know if you know that company. They also have CoursePath, which is e-learning environment, which help people to really easily create e-learnings online. But we also work with all kinds of agencies who have jobs opportunities and things like that. So you can think of all kinds of things to facilitate people in their lifestyle of being a global nomad and being able to work anywhere and always find opportunities, but also mobility providers, for example, we're talking to.
All right.
And the most difficult thing I found is we have those the API plugins, and everything can be easily technology-wise can be connected together. But it's things like, are you really willing to share what you have and to really connect it together? And that they're still in the whole way of thinking of all kinds of companies is this is mine and that's yours. And we strongly believe that my data, that's in my data wallet, so it should be actually on the blockchain for sure. But it's mine. Nobody else should be able to do something with it. So we believe that's the key thing. But we speak a lot to partners who have a different vision in that perspective. And then we can't go on, of course, because for us that's well, very important.
You had some hurdles like last year. I heard that you broke up with Social Impact Factory.
Oh yeah, that's not really a hurdle.
Okay, is that you wanna speak out on?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, it's for us. It was a great adventure, and I did it myself. I wanted to show the world that where it was an abundant, great building, a monumental building, and we thought, well, one and one is three. If you want to put social impact initiatives, offering it a bigger stage, a more prominent stage, then, well, if we can use that building of the government of Utrecht, then we can show that you can create, on the one side, a very healthy business model by using that Seats2meet concept, and on the other side, pay more attention to what's needed, the social impact companies. And we worked very hard on it for 3 years and brought it on a level which I'm very proud of. But for us, we worked together with some other partners, and well, they were more on the WeWork line. Well, then you exactly understand what I mean.
It looks like it today, yeah.
Yeah, and didn't want to invest too much in that social capital part. And for us, that's the key thing of doing it differently. So we thought, then it's not a showcase anymore. Then we just have to leave it up to you and just say, well, it was nice. We tried, but it's okay after 3 years. So that's why we offered our shares to the other partners and said, just go on. And they just had different focus on that business. So time for new adventures. And we do that all the time. So for us, it's not a hurdle at all. It's just being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you just offer your shares back. Is that how did you do such thing?
Yeah, it was like a big sweat investment, of course. Obviously, we just did it because we felt it needed to be done, and now it's a healthy and lively company. And we thought, well, the next steps would be, for example, buying the building from Utrecht government, and that was not in our vision, in our approach. That was not what it was all about. Things like that.
Yeah, because
for them that's really interesting. And so as soon as the focus gets more, when there's an unbalance in the social and monetary part, when there's not a evenwicht, Nick, can you help me? A balance, not a good balance, then it's not what we wanted to show. For us, it really, because we already had 2 Seats2meet locations on Hoogkaterijnen, so we didn't need a third one to show what the Seats2meet model was all about. But we wanted to combine that with that social entrepreneurship whole industry, and we wanted to show them that if you have great initiatives in that if you have great ambitions, then it's still possible to make money in the end and to create a sustainable business with that. And that's what we actually wanted to do on that specific stage.
Yeah.
But
what do you feel about this? Because in 3 years, that venue became like a very hot topic venue. Everyone was going there. Even some friends of mine were searching for renting a space, and now they are going to Social Impact Factory. Like, why didn't you go there to just have your office over there? Because you can just work there from. Now it's like, it has its momentum. They are able to run that itself with the restaurant downstairs, with the social offices, social entrepreneurship offices, and there was only one floor like there was about social capital, and that was the opening to go in there and to see all the others, to meet the social entrepreneurs and to have coffee downstairs with your business meetings. And like, I was really a fan of that building because it is such a beautiful place.
me too. Me too. Absolutely.
You want to say
I'm still a fan of the building, but I think if people are aim for different goals, then you just need to choose.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's like a certain time frame that you have. Like, if there's a crisis like 2008. There were like 4 years of a lot of social entrepreneurs starting up, like Baby and all of that. And then there's no crisis anymore, and everything is going the monetary way. And then you see that businesses being more harsh and individualistic. Is that something you see as well in the last few years? Is that something that has changed? Because I see that in all my business relationship, it's all about making direct money, which is different than I was used to.
Well, of course, when the economy is doing well, I think it's easy to focus on the money part. And people asked us over and over the last 15 years, why don't you ask money for those spaces? Because if you look at it's 100 people every day, for example, in Seats2meet Utrecht, and just ask them 10 euros per day. Well, count the money. It's really easy how much more money we could have made then. And still be cheaper, for example, than WeWork. But it's not about that money, and we really believe we have something else, something different to do in the society. So, that's actually. I think in general the whole society is still focused too much on money, and now that it's getting difficult, they are really gonna have a very difficult time when you don't have an alternative, if you just don't know how to do it differently.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because I was having a conversation. I don't know how much time we have left. Do we have like 2 minutes or something?
Another 10.
So I was having a conversation when a few weeks ago, when all the different economies, all the different local economies started shutting down. I was like, well, looks like it's about time to get rid of currency and the financial markets. And I was so serious. but really, and I thought, well, what would we do? How would we still get things to work and get people to move and get people to be productive, without the incentive or reward of cash in hand, whether it's real currency or physical, which is also going away soon. But I thought about it and I was like, man, how wonderful would that be? And here it is, your company really is like the entry point into that sort of thinking. It's so lovely. And there's one positive note I want to maybe, because I feel like this is my last question. I feel like Nick has something more.
The last question already. You're just starting.
I know we're short on time. I want to make sure I get this in there because recently with the obviously with the downturn in the economy due to coronavirus, jobless claims are at an all-time high. For example, the last week, the week ending March 24th or something like that, it was like 3.5 million in the U.S. I don't even know what the number was, but it was 5 times more than the record number of jobless claims ever.
25%, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's like, okay, so the first thing that I thought as we were talking was that, man, that means that when people are ready to work again, and those same companies can't, hire them back because it's still too unstable for them, they're hiring back.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for places like Seats2meet where they can go say, hey, look, I was head of marketing for this company, or I did this sort of job, for this other company. I could help you out because you still have means, and then it proved my worth. And I feel like people will migrate to these centers where people obviously who have something going can work from, but then there'll be even more of an interest in what you're offering, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And for them, it will be totally new world, because I sometimes think that people who are working for a Rabobank, for example, in some department somewhere in that big, cozy, comfortable world, they just don't know what's happening outside the borders of that company. Yeah. So we need to take them by the hand and show them our world and our way of doing things. Mm-hmm. But the sense of urgency is obviously, it will help, because they just don't have a choice. They just have to do it differently. And well, in the end, there was a difficulty to find people. So now it's the opposite. 3 weeks later. But hopefully it helps people to really use it as a reset because there's so many people not doing the job they love, that they're just sitting there, not adding value, don't know what they're doing, what the hell they're doing at Rabobank on the 11th floor with a nice view. So start thinking, who are you? That's not the life you want to live, I think.
It's like a reset button. It's like a reset button for all the bullshit jobs.
Exactly.
Because only the mandatory jobs, the vital jobs, they are still taking place. And then you see, whoa, what we are doing right now in this economic world is actually just bullshitting around. This is creating big money, and now people start realizing that, like, okay, I've been working for this job for 20 years, but now you see that, okay, this is things people don't really need. People are surviving without us.
and I think that also helps. That the thing that we need to be at home right now and totally go back to the fundament of your whole being. Mm-hmm. And with the family and the small group around yourself, I think it makes them realize what it's all about, what life is all about. And then we find, because we know, Nick, in the Seats2meet world, there are a lot of people thinking about basic income and renewing the whole educational system, and how much technology can help us to replace some jobs which are bullshit jobs. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that really, we can make that bigger now. Not only hopefully, I strongly believe we can make that bigger now. And we're going to do it differently right now. So, well, on the one hand, of course, I'm not with all the health problems and the risks we have right now. I'm not happy with that part, but I am happy with the crisis we are in right now, because it creates a lot of opportunities. And I think after 5 years, people will say, "Oh, wow, this brought us so much cool things." The whole world changed.
If I think of all the businesses that I speak to, like the last weeks, they're all filling like that spot that they missed, like the CSR spot. So they're all like, Microsoft is offering free Microsoft Teams to schools. Like, why didn't you do that in the first place? Yeah. This is their social capital that they should have.
True. There's so much abundance of things, but that's that thinking in terms of ownership. It's our exclusive product, and there's a price coming to it. So why offering it for free if you can ask money for it? And now they think, well, that really helps society. So share it. Google Next strategy. Yeah.
So I think there are some companies that are showing leadership, and the others are just putting the prices up, like Coolblue selling products for 20% or 30% more, even supermarkets asking so much more for just some tissues. Like, we need tissues, but you ask like 50% more now for that tissue.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So in the basic needs of people, some are like using that on a wrong way, like making the poor even poorer. And the others are like, okay, we have to create this community right now. Otherwise, we are going to die.
Exactly.
Or otherwise, Microsoft, in our vision and in our purpose, is not really Microsoft. It's actually just IT being sold.
Yeah.
Fun
right.
note on that very topic. When people were hoarding and buying all the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Well, there were a couple of folks, I think in the States, who bought a bunch of toilet paper to sell online at a marked up price.
Yeah.
And they got their account shut down, and that was their primary form of doing business. It's like, hey, you know what? This is the one time where greed is finally getting checked.
Yeah, that's the ultimate thinking in terms of economics, where scarcity is the key thing that adds value. And that's the whole old principle, and that will die. That will definitely die. I don't know how long it takes, but hopefully this will be a difficult time, which definitely makes sure that doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I like where it's headed in terms of the level of benevolence that has increased around the world. So that's good.
Yeah, I hope we're gonna upgrade society.
Yeah.
What do you think of like the gender, like the age gap that you have with, for example, digitizing stuff? Like, first it was like, okay, it needs some time to give my grandpa some understanding on how to use, for example, Zoom or whatever. How do you see that going forward? Like, if this takes another year, and we don't know if this crisis is taking a lot longer, and people that were never connected, how can we make sure that they are not actually dying from loneliness instead of coronavirus?
Well, exactly what you say. We have to help them and offer them all the possibilities we have to stay connected. And I'm living here next to an elderly home, and people are singing in front of the door when there's a birthday going on. Okay. And let's be lucky that we have the infrastructure we have right now, and that also all the hardware is so available at the moment. So I think now we have to put the money and all the expertise we have at the right place. And definitely what you say, those older people, I think for them it's a chance to also learn the things we are used to. But I think my own impression is when I look at my own my parents, they're 82 right now. They're so easygoing with all the technology available, and they use iPads and iPhones and everything around them. And for now, it's really it helps them to not feel lonely and to be able to also do their shopping online. And so it's really cool that we have that, and that we just have to support it the right way, make sure they get it.
Yeah, so this is like the momentum, good time to get people, get like grandson training grandma on how to get online.
Exactly.
Because now they cannot physically meet each other anymore, so they have to call and explain very clearly how to use Zoom or how to use Jitsi or WhatsApp or whatever.
And when it's exactly what happens. My sons are 13 and 15. And they are using FaceTime all the time to get connected to grandpa and ma. And they're explaining everything and having much more contact with them than normally in the physical world. So I think I think that will be all right.
I try to do it by step grandma. And trying to put on a VR headset.
That's cool.
I'm going to ask her if she wants to wear this thing, but now she was like, yeah, let me try. And I was like, No,
Yeah.
she's willing to try this. I have to prepare myself right now.
Exactly. Do you know Dana Maria,
Yeah,
the
I'm working
PR
together
specialist?
actually.
Well, I'm connected to her as well, and she's also thinking about augmented reality meetings and how we can use VR in the Seats2meet environment. And she also gave a private workshop to my mother, 82.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see. And she was going on a holiday from her own home, and she's really normally she's also a bit scary to go in a plane to go to a tropical island. But Dana offered her the possibility to go to that tropical island by using VR. So I'm definitely
Lower footprint.
sure we have it all available. It's just distributing and making sure that we teach all the people who don't know. That's actually also the people coming out of those corporates. We have to take them by the hand because it will be definitely very scary for them. But well, I believe in the people like us who will help them.
Yeah, we have to end this meeting right here.
We're out of time officially.
Out of time. The clock is ticking.
Thanks for all the good insights and great interview. So
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, let's spread some nice tips and tricks and some nice mindset on how to look at crisis and how to make the world a better place.
Absolutely.